I'm Melissa.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome back to Thursday. And y'all know what Thursday
True
is.
crime. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I spoiled it there,
No,
didn't
no,
I?
no. That's what I
Sorry.
wanted. That's what I wanted. I should have said it a little faster and then we would have timed out
Yeah.
perfectly.
Sorry. Yeah. So true crime. True crime day.
True crime day. Um, so yeah, today we are discussing the Delphi murders, I guess, because
Murders. I
two,
guess it was. Yeah. Yeah. This is another one. This is the funny thing with this. Well, there's nothing funny about murders.
right?
But the funny thing about us doing the true crime stories is there's a lot of these that are stories that I heard about. Like, when you mentioned this one, it's like, oh, I remember hearing about that, but didn't really know much about it. So these are educational opportunities.
Well, that's because this
It's
is
nice.
also one that kind of took a long time to arrest someone and go to trial and
Right.
all that stuff. Like it was another one that just was a slow moving case, Too bad they
Yeah.
can't all just be fast moving, but
Yeah. I
um
think I think the problem is that we all watch the crime shows on TV where they like,
yeah.
solve these things in like a half hour, and it's like, why is it taking weeks?
Yeah, exactly. Like when you're seeing it in a whole episode, it's a lot different than waiting in real time.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, the Delphi murders. This happened on February 13th, 2017, early in the afternoon. So it was two best friends. Let me find their names because I lost. Okay, Abigail and Liberty. They were two best friends. They had a lot in common.
Abby and Libby.
Yeah, Abby and Libby.
Abby and Libby. Yeah.
And yeah, they had a bunch in common. Apparently they had a bunch like they had I think it was the flute that they both played that I was hearing that they like I don't know had in common, and that was like what made them BFFs. Which they should be BFFs because I don't know too many people who would just bond over the love of the
Yeah.
flute.
Yeah.
Um, they were also only 13 years old, and yeah. So earlier in the afternoon, on February 13th, they had asked their grandma if they could go to the woods, if she would take them. Um, and I guess this was something that they also did on the regular. Like it wasn't abnormal. I mean, I went to the woods all the time when I was younger. Like nobody thought anything of it.
Same. Same.
Um, so they asked her grandma if they could go, and she said only if somebody drops you off and picks you up. You're not walking there. So they had asked, I think it was Abby's older sister, or no, Libby's sister. She had agreed initially. At first, the thing I was listening to, it said that her sister at first turned her down and then felt bad. So she was like,
Mm.
okay, fine, I'll take you,
Oh wow.
but find somebody to pick you up. So, um, yeah, her sister took them, dropped them off, said, I love you. And I guess that was also like a big thing that their family did was always say, I love you, which is,
Hmm.
love that. I feel like we all do
Yeah.
that.
Family
Um,
should do that.
at least should do that. So, and it was the Delphi Historic Trails, by the way.
Hmm. In
Um,
Delphi, Indiana.
yeah, in Delphi, Indiana.
Yeah.
This thing that I have in my notes says that the bridge itself was a local landmark on abandoned railroad bridge stretching. It's an abandoned railroad bridge stretching roughly 850 feet long, which is crazy. Sounds beautiful. And it's about 60 feet above Deer Creek. It was known for being beautiful but dangerous. And yeah, as they were on their walk, they had and also they had gotten, I think it was Abby's dad who was supposed to no, Libby's dad who was supposed to pick them up. So once they got dropped off, they're on the trail and they were big on Snapchat, so they were taking a bunch of Snapchats the whole time, which is how they were even able to put a pretty good timeline together, I would say. Um, and they even recorded the man who was for a long time just known as, I think it was Bridge Guy, yeah,
Bridge guy, yeah.
because they had no, I did you listen to the the guy they captured? Because there's some distinct. That's what's funny. Even it's like the Nancy Guthrie case with the
Mm.
backpack. How they find little key features like that and they run with them. And this specific guy, I don't even know. He was talking a long time before anyone was like, "Hey, maybe he should get a lawyer."
Oh
Um,
wow.
because they were talking about like the jacket. I think it was, and he was like, I mean, I have that jacket, but it's actually not blue. It's like a navy, like dark.
Oh
Like I don't
my
know. He was
God.
he was talking way too much. But yeah, so at 1:45 p.m., the girls arrive. Libby's sister dropped Abby and Libby off near the trail entrance and they planned to hike, take pictures and explore the bridge. Very normal day for them. And then about 20 minutes later at 2:07 p.m., Libby posted a photo of Abby walking across the bridge on Snapchat. This would later be the last confirmed photo of Abby alive.
Mm.
Shortly after 2:07, so this is when a little bit after 2:07 is when they realized that somebody was following them. Um, that's when Libby secretly turns on Snapchat, the camera on her phone, and is like recording him. So it was like flashes of him. I don't know if you saw the video, but
No.
it's like her
Says it was
walking like
43
this.
seconds of video. 43 seconds of video.
Yeah. And yeah, she was like kind of getting him like looking like she's taking a selfie, but also flashing it to where you can see enough of somebody walking behind her.
Hmm.
Um, and in that same clip, you can hear the man behind them say, "Guys down the hill." So, if it wasn't any weird thing going on and that man is innocent, I don't know why this random older man would be telling these two 13-year-olds, "Hey, guys down the hill." I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. That's strange.
Um, So then at 3:15 p.m., that's when Libby's dad came to pick her up, both of them up.
Well, I can I add something there? I had
Yeah, of
something that says
course.
at around 2:31 or 2:32, Libby's phone data shows movement and then suddenly stops and there's no further movement, which
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
is indicative of that's was the moment of the attack, they think. So go ahead, continue.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. That's crazy. Um, yeah, so then 3:15. What time did you say yours was? 2:30?
2:32, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So then yeah, so at 3:15, her dad showed up, Libby's dad showed up to get them, and the girls didn't answer. So he figured, like, whatever, I'll just go in the woods and try to find them. And again, was it weird for them to be in the woods? So all the family was saying, like, they just assumed the girls wandered off somewhere. So he went down both trails, still couldn't find her. At 5:30 p.m., that's when she was reported missing. Um, so yeah, that's also when search teams began combing through the woods and the trails, which is crazy. I feel like that's so far
Yeah.
after. Um, so the next day, around noon, February 14th, searchers found the bodies about a half mile up from the bridge. Authorities quickly confirmed that Abby and Libby had been murdered. investigators kept a lot of the scene a secret. Sorry, my notes are all over the place.
Yeah, mine says they sealed the autopsy reports and precise times and specifics of the death were not publicly released. It says an uncommon and frustrating detail noted by investigators.
Oh yeah, and I also have that because of that decision, that's what fueled so much speculation for such a long time as well, because
Yeah,
they kept it a secret, which, people are gonna do anyways, but that's what we also, not to keep talking about Nancy Guthrie, but like that's what we were even saying about her. Like, who knows how
yeah,
much information they really know about a case? Like, you know, on at least on all the crime shows I watch, apparently the FBI and all those investigators and stuff, they don't like talking to the media anyways. So,
yeah, yeah.
and then
Makes
the
sense.
media is our outlet.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, so that's the timeline. Bridge guy, now to bring him into the mix. 2 days later, police released a still image from Libby's phone from that Snapchat of Bridge guy. Um, that's what showed him walking, and it was a pretty clear picture too. What helped too was like literally pretty much like a full body situation of this man. Like if he was about to get, well, I mean, he was found guilty of it, but um, the fact that she even recorded him, I think, is because she knew that something malicious was going to happen, and it ended up helping out her case in the end. Um, Once they released the still image, that's when everyone started referring to him as Bridge Guy. And then that's also shortly after that is when they did the audio for it as well, where you can hear him saying "guys down the hill." Okay. So investigators received over 20,000 tips from the public, but the case still ended up going cold, which is kind of crazy. But I think,
yeah. I have something too that says in 2019, so 2 years later, a second sketch of the suspect was released, considered more accurate than earlier images, but 2 years? Like that's
yeah,
wild.
especially when you literally have a full frame photo, like screen,
Right,
you have a
right,
video of this man. You
right,
can hear his voice, you can
right.
hear his, and 2017 technology was pretty advanced by then.
Yeah.
It's not like
I
someone.
want to know with that kind of stuff in cases like this, when AI, not to get off back on the AI, thing, but when AI is going to come into play to the extent that it will be able to look at, you know, publicly available, like social media
Oh
pages and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff and try to find people, and then based on geolocation, like where the person is,
Oh
be
right.
able to come up with a list. I mean, that's coming. That's
Mhm.
definitely coming.
Mhm.
And that's going to be wild because I feel like cases like this one where they're you know, are like they've got a photo of the person, unless it's somebody who's, like I mean, I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing, so I don't know much about the guy that when they caught him. But unless it's somebody who was like living in the woods and that kind of thing, that was not
Oh, like no
part of
social
society.
media. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably like a
that
flip
person you're never gonna find.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. But man, it would solve a lot of these cases because so many of these people, like in my notes, like the authorities had came out after they came out with the new sketch and they said this guy could be hiding in plain sight. This killer could be hiding in plain sight. So to me, it's kind of like, yeah, a lot of these, I think so many of these murder cases, it's your regular person that you would never
Mm-hmm.
suspect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the guy who lives off the grid in the woods, you
Right,
know?
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, even you think back to like a lot of the serial killer cases, right? Like
Oh yeah.
the Ted Bundy guy was like all up in the colleges, just this charming younger guy. That's how he would get his people. Like,
Right.
you see the guy hiding in the woods, like, no one's going towards him anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
this guy had a nice
And
jacket on. Like, he looked just like a regular, well put together, regular older man. You know,
yeah, yeah,
watch who you be friendly to, y'all. You know, just friendly enough to the strangers.
right.
Um, so in October 22nd or 22nd,
20.
LOL. I'm sick.
It's
um,
okay.
October 2022, this is when the arrest happened, which FYI, 5 years after the murder is when they finally made an arrest. Crazy. Like, if you can't solve
Right.
the case and make the arrest with the guy who you have a full frame photo of, like, and
Yeah.
voice, I don't know who's everyone's getting away with murder then.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is at that point too, I keep saying the funny thing. There's nothing funny about these cases. But
Interesting.
at that point he thought he got away with it. Like 5 years
Oh
later,
yeah.
he thought they didn't get me,
Yeah, you're
So
moving on with your life after 5 years. What?
yeah, yeah.
Um, so they arrested a man named Richard Allen. He was a local pharmacy technician at CVS in Delphi.
Wow.
Creepy.
Yeah, right.
He really was hiding in plain sight, y'all. See? I'm sure he has a Facebook. um, Shockingly, he had reported himself to the police in 2017. He told investigators that he had been on the trail the day of the murders, which, a lot of cases that I've listened to, a lot of them do things like that. Like, they'll, him report, like, hey, I was in the trail, but I saw them, but, you know, then I just carried on with my day. It's
Yeah.
to try and clear himself. That way later
Yeah.
on, if there is something that comes out about someone seeing him or whatever, it looks a little less suspicious.
Right. Because he
But
already admitted it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
mhm, yeah, it's like, have you ever heard of sometimes like the killer literally going, there's like a search for the person who's missing, and these killers sometimes will literally go on the search,
Oh, really? I haven't heard that one.
like,
Just
so
to
weird.
no, I looked over there already. We don't need to look over there.
Yeah. Yeah, to clear their name. It's or sometimes they'll just do it for like the sick reason of like seeing all the commotion that they
Yeah,
cause. They do that too.
right, right.
Um so that tip was mistakenly marked as cleared. It sat buried in case files for years. Again, probably cleared just based off, I don't know, maybe you're getting 20,000 tips coming in and a lot going on
Mm.
around that time. So, yeah, I don't know. That's
It was
crazy.
late on a Friday and the guy just wanted to go home.
Someone dropped the ball, okay?
Yeah.
Um, so investigators later claimed that Allen admitted being on the trail, but witnesses saw a man dressed like Bridge Guy. So that's what I mean. Like, he had no choice but to really confess. He
Right,
probably he
right,
probably saw that other people saw him as well. So,
right. Well, also maybe the picture came out and if the picture had come out at that point, he was like, "Oh
oh,
yeah,
true.
yeah, I was there, but
Mhm.
that's crazy."
That's not me though, because that's not. No,
No, that
my
jacket's
jacket.
blue. Mine is navy.
Mine's different. So a 40 caliber bullet was also found at the scene, which matched his gun,
Mm.
and he allegedly confessed multiple times while in jail that it was his, and that he like
Wow.
killed them and all that stuff. I remember
Wow.
hearing that
Wow.
it's because it's on video. Like, you can find the prison call where he's on the phone with, I believe it's his wife. He's like, "No, I killed them. I killed them." But there's a conspiracy about that we'll talk about at the end.
Wow. Okay.
Um, so his trial began in 2024. 2 years after he was arrested, um, prosecutors charged him with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of felony murder related to kidnapping. The prosecution argued that he approached the girls on the bridge, forced them down the hill at gunpoint, and then murdered them near Deer Creek. Um, and then the defense was arguing that the ballistics evidence was unreliable, confessions were the result of mental breakdown, and that there was no DNA tying Allen to the scene. Which I guess like that's probably what takes so long because you do need, especially when there's a murder and there's
Right.
no murder weapon that you can tie to somebody besides this video.
Right.
um you can easily
Yeah.
say that
And if
that's
you
not
don't,
me.
yeah,
Okay, well, we have the
exactly.
same shoes, pants, and jacket.
And
So
that
so
looks
do so
exactly
many
like
other
me.
people. Plenty of older men
Yeah.
are wearing this jacket with these pants and these shoes. It's a good outfit. um So in November 2024, that's when the jury found him guilty, surprise, surprise, on all the accounts, and he was sentenced to 130 years in prison.
Wow. So he'll be in prison until 2154.
Wow, that was quick math. Is
I
that
would
correct?
not. I would. Yeah. I don't
Wow.
know. I don't know. I just guessed. Um,
Oh my God, I was gonna
but
say, wait a minute.
no, that's it's not hard math. But anyway, um,
It's a little hard.
I
Well,
just would hate to be like if he has a cellmate. You'd hate to be the cellmate for that last 100 years or so. It's gonna be
stinky.
uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
stinky. Um, so I have something weird too. It says partial phone records reveal some odd activity because it says that Libby's phone showed a rise in activity hours after it went silent. It says at
Hmm.
4:33 a.m. the following day, it received 15 to 20 text messages simultaneously from concerned family members, and
Yeah.
investigators couldn't explain that. I mean, it's probably just that where it was, the service dropped and somehow it got a connection again at that point. And I mean, that's not that odd to me. There's
Yeah.
there's ways you could explain that.
Oh, like if she's getting yeah, if it was like no connection and then it connected, um
Yeah.
and her texts are coming through or something.
Yeah. Everything catches up. Yeah.
That's true. Um so let's talk about some conspiracies with the case because this is interesting to me. This is a lot of the like more recent stuff that has come out. Um so out there in Indiana, there is a cult called the O- Odinist cult theory. Um, so Allen's defense argued that the crime scene contained pagan or Norse symbols. They claimed members of a white supremacist Odinist group may have carried out the ritual killing. According to the defense, sticks arranged around the body resembled runic symbols, possible ritualistic staging. So, did you hear about how their bodies were staged?
Somewhat, yeah.
So, they were both naked and they
Oh,
had,
see, my notes say something different. Notes say that Abby was found clothed and Libby was found without lower clothing.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And Abby was, that's what it was. And Abby, they said like the way that she was dressed doesn't look like it looked like someone dressed her
Mm.
the way that her clothes were like, yeah. It looked like she was laying down, her clothes were off, and someone was laying down and like dressed her. And then they had like sticks laid out in a very specific pattern around them. Um, Police never supported this theory publicly, and many investigators believe it was simply random placement of branches. But I mean, what are the odds? You know what I mean? At the same time, like, what are the chances?
Right, right.
So, what I was reading about with the cult theory is that they have is it is it prison guards, or I should have wrote it down, darn it. But I think it's like someone in law enforcement, prison guards, or someone was a part of the Odinist cult.
I think it's Odinist
Odinist. I don't really care.
because
No, just
because when they're
kidding.
talking about no, I'm just
Yeah.
this is my Marvel brain is going here because when they're
Oh,
talking about North, uh, yeah, it's that would be referring to like Odin, Thor,
Odinist. Mm.
yeah, Odin.
So my apologies. So so yeah, with the cult, there's a few higher people who are a part of that cult, allegedly, and what they think is that the a few of the cult members were in the woods that day as well. This man was really just like out there walking, and they got a hold of him, forced him and the girls down the hill. I don't know if in the clip if you can see his lips talking, but either way, um and some people believe that they threatened Richard Allen, basically, take the blame for this murder or we'll kill your whole family, pretty much.
Oh wow,
That's why even when he's talking to his family members in the jail, um he's like no, 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 I did it, I did it, I did it. Hmm. And they're
wow,
like, but that just doesn't make sense. Like, why would you, like, to an extent, like, I guess they might be thinking you never really know somebody, but I feel like you also know somebody's character to an extent. Like,
right,
okay, no, I know this person enough to know they would never, like, I know you would never do that. You know what I mean?
right, right.
Um, so yeah, that's the cult theory. That he didn't really do it. He's just taking the blame for the cult people
Wow, because they threatened his family.
because they
Wow,
threatened his family. Like, to this
that
day,
you
threatened
know
his
what
family.
that would make a really like interesting movie though. If that's
It would, right? There you go. Get on it. Except, I guess we'll be stealing a. Well, no, it's just a
yeah,
conspiracy.
right,
Um, there's also a multiple killers theory. Some internet investigators, which we love those, me,
yeah.
believe more than one killer was involved. Apparently, this is because the terrain was difficult to walk in. Two victims may have been hard to control. Some witnesses reported seeing multiple suspicious men,
Mm,
but, law enforcement hasn't confirmed any of that. But,
right, right.
which, I don't know, because I don't believe they were shot. Um, I don't believe that they had,
Well, that's but you said they found gun casings,
they
so
were,
bullet casings.
yeah, they weren't, it wasn't a used bullet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was like a bullet, I guess maybe that fell out of his gun or something, but I heard that
Hmm,
it wasn't a used bullet.
that's straight. Well, and it's funny because if you go back to the conspiracy theory, um, if you think of the fact that they said about how they sealed the autopsy report,
Hmm.
makes you think maybe somebody in law enforcement was part of the Odinist cult.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I know exactly.
I have never heard of an Odinist cult, by the way, just to be. Although I think there was an episode of Agents of Shield where they had one. Now that I think about it,
I just hate anything to do with cults, if I'm being honest. Like,
yeah,
I don't even like talking about them too long. Like, that's why I just
yeah, I
breezed
know,
past
right?
that, but it was worth
Yep.
mentioning. Okay, so there's also a the bridge guy doesn't look like Alan debate. Even after conviction, some people believe the man in the video does not resemble Alan. Others argue the video quality is too poor to determine. So,
Mm,
when I was reading about this case, I guess like a lot of people are very like um black and white about this. Like, they either fully believe with everything in them that he did it, or there's a lot of people who strongly believe that he did not have anything to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's scary if that's the case because, then it makes you wonder, I mean, if that something like that happened, um, I can't imagine it was the only time they did something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
people who do those kind of things tend to do them, more often.
Mhm. Yeah, so yeah, it's the conspiracies. I think I don't know actually what I believe about it. I am a person that's in that gray area in the middle. I'm one of the few, it could be a cult. The only reason I kind of don't believe that is if it was a cult that threatened him to take the blame and like let him live in exchange for taking the blame,
Hmm.
I don't know why he wouldn't have like in the interrogation call, it's a long interrogation interview where this other guy is pleading for him to just say that he did it, and he was, Richard was just not budging. He kept saying, I
Ah,
didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. You can ask anyone who knows me. They're going to say I didn't do it. I didn't do it. So, why would you go into it unless you're going into it like that to make it more believable maybe when you do confess? I don't know.
yeah,
But
that seems like a lot though. Like
yeah.
deny it at first, then admit it. I don't know.
Mhm. So, yeah, that's the one reason I don't think it was a cult, and I do think some people think that like I don't know, they did something to bother him in the woods and he just snapped. Um,
Yeah,
but
maybe.
yeah.
Right, maybe yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
Just reading some other notes, see if there's anything. Yeah, the Odinist theory came from the defense, not investigators. But it says my notes also do say that the investigators did look into one investigator reportedly raised concerns. A former investigator involved in the case wrote a letter suggesting he believed there was more evidence pointing to Odinist suspects than to Allen. That was one of the investigators, but this was
mhm.
never accepted by the court as proof.
Yeah, cuz apparently the Odinist cult members are just sprinkled all around town there.
Yeah. And it says the defense named specific individuals.
Mm.
Defense filings identified several people they believed were Odinists and suggested they could be suspects. However, none were publicly named by law enforcement as suspects and none were charged.
Yeah. Now, that's another thing about that theory though is that, with it being the defense who was talking about it, I think if he said like or if the cult really was like you have to say that you're guilty, or else we're taking down your whole family.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think
Yeah.
he would have his lawyers talk about it as part of his defense, in my
Right.
opinion. I
Right.
would be like, no, we need to find something else. Like, so
What
his
if they,
wife, what?
well, no, I was going to say, what if they came to him after and had to remind him that, hey, if you don't do this, we're going after your family. Like maybe he,
That could have been it.
after,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because he had a real big switch once he was actually in jail.
Hmm.
That's when he was consistently admitting that he killed them. So who knows? He was admitting it on the phone with his wife. So, that could have happened. His wife believed, I think her belief was that he that they like had him on some crazy medication that was making him just
Oh,
like admit his guilt in jail and act
oh,
erratic.
yeah,
His wife kept saying like, "No, they have you on all this medication. They have you medicated up." Like, yeah. So she thinks it's a medication thing. But, you know, um either way, two 13-year-old BFFs were lost, and they were so young, and it's so sad when any of these cases, but especially when they're just children like that, cuz
Yeah.
Nobody should
Yeah.
have to go through that, but I can't even imagine
No.
how scared like two little 13-year-old girls are, especially in a place that they frequented, like they felt comfortable
Yeah.
going to. And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel for their family members because I would be thinking about it for the rest of my life if I was her sister who dropped her off, or the
Right.
grandma that said that you can go, and even her
Right.
grandma agreeing for them to go and thought she was doing the safe thing of, okay, but you can't walk there, you got to get dropped off, blah blah blah, like,
Yeah.
and then something like that happens that same day. That's just so
Yeah, it's
awful.
hindsight, right? But you think, well, gosh, when they saw this creepy guy following them, why didn't they call somebody? Like clearly they had a phone that they were doing Snapchats on. Why didn't they call someone, you know?
Exactly. But I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they also didn't know what was going to happen. A little backstory, real quick, also was like there was another person that they actually looked into earlier on before they made any arrests. I can't remember his name, but he was in his 20s or 30s, old enough to know better. And I guess he was like messaging them on one of those gaming apps, like a Roblox or whatever. He was messaging them on one of those apps, and he was trying to meet up with them, one of them or both of them or whatever.
Is that confirmed or that was one of the
Confirmed.
stories?
No, no,
Oh,
no,
wow.
that's confirmed. It's actually somebody that they interviewed, and like he was a suspect at one point, and then he was cleared because he never met up with them.
Wow.
But so even thinking about that, like, not only did they have to go through what they went through that day, but they also were just uh, some creepy older man was also trying to prey on them earlier that day. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so
wild.
yeah, so sad.
So keep your kids safe is the lesson there. I read one more really kind of interesting fact here. That's not the one. Darn it. Oh, um, darn it.
Oh, you know what? While you think of that, there was also another suspect. That's another one that I'm just now thinking about. There was another suspect that his property, where they were found, it was on this man's property.
Okay.
Can't remember his name, but um when they, because obviously kids are found on your property, you're gonna get interviewed for sure. um and this guy was acting super suspicious, kind of like a douchebag, and he never confessed to doing anything. um he stood on just never doing anything to them, never seeing them, like, whatever. And then he ended up dying of, I think, cancer or something. So we'll never really know
Mm,
as far as that. Like, if it was truly a case of getting the wrong person guilty and putting him in jail, if it was that
right.
guy, who knows?
Right. Right. The one thing also says evidence showed the girls were taken across Deer Creek, which was knee to waist deep in February and extremely cold, which makes sense because
Oh,
it was
true.
February. So that makes it all worse too. Still.
And that guy wasn't, and not to be on the Richard Allen defense, but if you see his outfit, he wasn't exactly dressed for walking across waist deep water.
Right.
Pretty sure
Yeah,
he was
that's
wearing
kind of
jeans or
strange.
something. It's not like he was
Yeah,
walking
which
behind them in waders. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, and you'd think it would have been like when he came home, then they'd be like, "Why are you soaked?" You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
interesting.
So,
It's also interesting with them not releasing the autopsy details because that's one thing that I'm noticing you don't read is how they died.
yep,
Nothing talks about how they died,
yeah,
which is extremely strange.
yeah, exactly. So,
Wow. Well,
yeah,
that was a strange and depressing one. Another
yeah,
depressing one. These cases are too depressing.
right. Now let me just go watch the Rugrats movie to cheer up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Gotta go throw on some scrubs after this, maybe. I don't know.
The show, not the outfit, not
Yeah,
the
no,
uniform.
not yeah. That would be really weird if that was my way of like decompressing. Just go put on some medical scrubs, pretend I'm a doctor.
Yeah. Whenever I'm feeling sad, nothing cheers me up like putting on a scrubs.
Yeah. All right. Well, at
Uh,
least we ended on a somewhat lighthearted note there.
that's funny.
Thanks for checking out this week's episode, and check us out again Tuesday for another new episode.
Bye, everybody.